Ilaria, welcome to the show.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
coming on.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you. I'm a big fan of your content to just kind of like dive right into it. When I moved out here, I was looking for just like Denver influencer type people to like follow and give me ideas of what I could do more. And you were one of the first like hiking influencers that I
Really?
followed. I followed your Instagram first, which I also found was funny because I like went and looked at your TikTok this morning and I was like, oh my gosh, she's like huge on TikTok. So it was like the opposite, I feel like, of probably most people find you on TikTok and then, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I know. Most people say that they found me on like all of the group hikes I do. I ask them and they say Instagram. So
oh, okay.
I don't know, my that's growing. My TikTok is kind of stagnant.
I felt okay, not to like go right into content stuff, but same. I like something about TikTok. It's like they know the metadata, like where you're editing it or something, because they absolutely hate anything I post from edits.
Mhm.
Like I've had some blow up on Instagram recently, and then I put them on TikTok, so it should arguably do just as
Mhm.
good. And then it's like it doesn't get pushed to anyone. Like it
Yeah.
gets 100 views, and I'm like, cool, great.
Yeah.
So I've just also been like, I'm over this.
Yeah, TikTok is awful for creating community. It's all about virality, but yeah, engagement is awful on there. You could have a huge following, but it truly doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're gonna put a pin in that because that
Okay.
was interesting. Because but I don't want to get too into content right away.
Okay.
So the group hikes, you had one this weekend, right?
Yeah.
How was it?
Amazing. It's the most rewarding, fulfilling thing, bringing women together to um experience and enjoy nature together.
And you
Truly.
mainly just do all women. I did not.
Right
I
now, yeah.
unfortunately did not look into this because
Yes.
I saw your post and I was like, oh my gosh, you did a hike this weekend. So
Yes, right now I've had people ask for co-ed, but I mean, for obvious reasons, I don't know, it's easier to like vet a woman than
yeah,
it is a male.
no hate here.
Sorry.
No.
But yeah, and also selfishly, I kind of started it because I was looking for friends, and when I did the first one, it was so prevalent how much community is needed in women right now and how hard it is to make female friendships as an adult, for no other reason other than we're just living our lives.
Mhm.
And so that was really rewarding, being able to bring people together, women together in that way. And we're on a hike, so
Yeah,
yeah, it was
yeah.
almost like I created it so we could hike together, but then it became the hike was secondary and the primary benefit was all of us just yapping
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
And so have you had friends come out of the groups
Um,
or same maybe some same people coming through all the
yes.
time?
So I've had people come to multiple, but I think the most rewarding thing is in one of the group chats, one of the girls said, "Hey, everybody, I had a last minute reservation for the Brainerd Lake area. Does anyone want to go?" And so now they're kind of creating their own group
Yeah.
hikes. And I'm like, "Ah, I feel like a mama
Yeah.
bird, like fly away." So
No,
it's really cool. It's really rewarding. And I think it's exciting because after each one, they've been asking, when's the next one? Or are you going to do other things, not just hiking? We should go skiing, or we should do this, or we should go to a brewery, and so that's really cool too. And it just feels really a blessing, truly, that I have grown my platform to be able to
yeah.
host these.
And actually foster a community other than
Yes.
just online presence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It makes Instagram and the whole content, it makes all of that feel a little bit more real because a lot of these women who have supported me from behind a screen, I'm meeting in real life and we're
Right.
becoming friends, and that's everything to
No,
me.
that's
And
awesome.
they're becoming friends, which was like the whole point of it all.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you nailed on something where it's like as we've gotten to be adults and we have our full-time jobs, we have our hobbies, we have our family, it's like we do have it's harder and harder to make new friends, and it's
Mhm.
also very hard to just see the ones that you already know. Like
Mhm.
I joke around with one of my buddies that is back in Florida. We caught up like last week and we were talking about like, dude, I just feel like I'm always like busy doing like chores or something. And it's just, we were laughing about like, yeah, the dishes are like endless. Like we're
Mhm.
just kind of cracking up about that. We're like, oh, we really are adults now. We're realizing like how much this stuff like is just an endless wave. But at the same time, we make an effort and we play phone tag maybe for a couple weeks and it finally works out. We're both available. And that's what I've started to tell all my friends where I'm like, listen, we're going to play phone tag for a little bit and that's okay. And
Yeah.
eventually we're going to be able to make it happen. Like,
Yeah.
especially if we're not like, people that are like hey, on Tuesday I'll call you at 6 p.m. and they're like, perfect, that works for
Yeah.
my schedule. Which I have friends like that too. God bless. But sometimes it's better for us to just do that phone tag and get in touch. Yeah, it can be difficult.
I don't know if you do this, but with my close girlfriends, we call it podcasting. So, where we basically update each other in a voice note
Yeah.
over text, and it'll be like 6 minutes long. And I listen to them and get back to them when I'm driving or when I'm walking my dog. So I'll get on and be like, hey, so I'm driving to work. It's time to get back to you with my podcast. And we'll just update each other. And that, hey, you got to do what works.
No, I love
But
that.
also sometimes like the dishes will always be there is kind of my philosophy.
Yeah.
You don't want to leave them too long, but the dishes will always be there, and like you're never gonna get the time back with your
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a hint. I guess I rephrase that. It wasn't like it's a hindrance for me and him to talk or anything.
Yeah.
He's just kind of joking about how that is like one minuscule thing we've noticed where it's like they are always like it's
They are.
always something at the house to clean. Like
Always.
whether it's dishes, the laundry, and he's got a house, or he's got the yard. It's like there's always something.
There is.
And it just continues. But that's life. So, But
life.
the podcast, yeah, we actually that same friend and I did start doing that. We were on the phone last week. We're like, maybe we should just do the like if we can call, great, but like let's just do the podcast thing.
Yeah.
No, okay. On funny note on that is we sent one over the weekend. I was sending him one, and he tried to respond. He's like, it keeps deleting my voice memo, and so I'm just gonna send you a voice memo because like he's like sent me the file. He's like, I can't do this.
Oh, like went to the voice memo
App
Oh,
and sent it, and I was like, that's actually so
that's
funny.
hilarious.
So he's doing that now, which I think's even funnier because then he'll be like mid through a voicemail and be like, hold on, I forgot, I have to open my notes app and then like remember what you said because it's
That's
not
so
there. Like
funny.
it's anyways, it's
That's so
funny. But it does help. It does really help keep in touch now.
Yeah. It's so crucial.
So back to the hikes, because I had a question with the group hikes. Did you make that or did you get with like a group that started to make those? How did that come about?
No, I mean, there's several. If you like go on Facebook and just type in group hikes in Colorado, there's several people that host group hikes. But for me, it kind of started because I kept getting DMs of women asking if I did host them. And I didn't at the time. And then I started thinking about it and basically asked myself, why don't I? And so I kind of pushed it off for a bit because, I was nervous. Is anybody going to show up? What if they start asking me all these crazy mountaineering questions that I don't know because I'm not like an expert? I just
Right.
get out there and enjoy it. And that is not the case whatsoever. But yeah, so then I basically started it and I started it on Instagram and it was really hard to track. It was just kind of a mess. So then I moved it over to a Facebook group, which I hate Facebook. I did not want to do that, but it's just easiest in terms of keeping track of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you had any, I'm just curious, have you had any of those like travel groups or anything hit you up where they're like, we'll have you host a trip?
Yes, two. Actually, I have a call with one
Okay.
here soon. I'm really excited about that. So that is actually something that I really want to start next year. And I think I was putting feelers out with some of the women in the group hikes. And one of them, she was funny. She was like, Ilaria, you book it and I'll hand you my credit card. I don't care where, I don't care when. And that it was funny, but it also was really endearing because to have these women trust me in that way,
Yeah.
it was really cool. And I think hosting the in-person group hikes allows for more of that and
100%.
deeper connection. And so when I do host a group trip one day, I think it'll be like all these women that have been on group hikes with me, which is great and perfect.
Yeah. No, that'll be awesome. I'm
Yeah.
curious. I'll have to ask you how that goes.
Yeah.
I had a group thing hit me up, which I was shocked about because I'm like, I don't feel like.
Do you remember which one?
No, not off the top of my head.
Okay.
And I was asking them because I'm more in the festival space than I am like trip travel. I mean, I do those, but like it's just the content wise, it just tends to be more of that. And so I was even asking them, I'm like, well, I was like, can I like incorporate an event into it? Like, and they're like, yeah, we can figure something out like that. And I was like, right, maybe it is worth a shot. Oh, maybe that might be something that'll be fun. So we'll see. Even so, I was thinking about it too, because I had the same kind of question. I was like, is anyone really
Yeah.
like signed up for this? And then I was like, actually, I probably have 5 like friends that would be like,
Yeah.
I'll just come.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, maybe this could work out.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But
You have to believe.
Yeah.
You have to be a little bit delusional.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've kind of come into some delusion with this where I'm like, it's just gonna keep going and it's gonna be great. And like,
And it keeps going and it's great.
yeah. I mean, well, yeah, I like to think that, but then you have days where you're like in your head. I'm sure as a content creator, you have this.
That will never go away.
What am I doing?
Even when you if you envision in your mind right now the the moment where you feel like you will have made it, a certain amount of subscribers or like whatever it is. Once you get there, you will
Still be
it'll
more than that.
yeah. Like I
That's good.
was just on a hike with a creator friend this morning, and she's about to hit 200,000 followers on Instagram, and she's like, it's doesn't go away. The imposter syndrome, the questioning yourself, and I'm
It's
like,
not what I
yeah,
want to
sure.
hear right now.
But I know it's comforting because we all are just figuring it out, and some of
Yeah.
us are just a little bit more ahead of the figuring it out path, but you're
100%.
always on the figuring it out path. So
That's a great way to put it. I will say that was a big plus for me in the last couple of years, was like having similar creators to like talk to and just branch ideas off of. That was a big game changer because I started, one of my good friends was like, "You should just make content." And I don't, that was it. That was a conversation. I was like, "Yeah, I guess I should. Like, I want to go to these events and blah, blah, blah." And I just started, loved it. But there was like 2 years of just myself really figuring out what to do, where to go. And I did all sorts of different things. I'm at this point now where I'm like, honestly, like 5 years in, about to hit six. Actually, I might have hit six this August. But anyways, it's like I was by myself for two of them. Then I tried this way, then I tried that way for a while. And it just now at like the 6 year mark, I'm like, oh, I finally know what I want to be doing. And I'm gonna go for that now.
Yeah.
But it was funny just trying different things. And then, but my point was, when I started talking with other creators is when things really started picking up in a different way, because it was just like, all right, now I can bounce ideas off. And when I'm having those days of doubt where I'm like, what am I doing? Someone that's maybe a bit far ahead can be like, hey, not having the
normal,
same
yeah.
problem. Or they can go, hey, you're looking at it this way, look at it this way. And it was like a game changer for sure.
Yeah.
That community is so important.
It really helps to have creator friends.
Yeah. I mean, in reality, it does help with anything you're kind of going for. You know, if you're trying to be a finance guy, it'll help to have a finance mentor and stuff of that nature. But you don't think about it in that sense of like, at least I didn't. Like when I came to like content creation and making, reels, I never thought of it like that. But yeah, in my normal day job, I was like, I should probably get with my manager, every couple of weeks,
Yeah.
brainstorm and get some ideas.
Yeah, it's so important. It's so important.
What like one, again, I already said I do really love your content, and
you.
part of it's because I'm big into the outdoors myself, and I've now myself started to make outdoor content as we'll get into content stuff, but I'm like, why would I niche down to one thing? But
Can I ask you something?
go for
Like,
it.
I'm always curious. Do you remember like what video or what it was that popped up that made you find my page?
I don't, but I'm sure I could go back and look and tell you afterwards. I don't remember which one. It was mainly just because, again, I was like looking for different hikes to do.
Or did you
Out
search
here.
something and then it popped up?
No, it was definitely on my reels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, or someone sent me something, and then it was from there.
Yeah.
Because it was a mix of two things. One, I wanted things to do, but then I also had just started looking at, or I'm sorry, then I had just realized like I wanted to really go kick it into high gear on podcasting, because I like that. Out of all the content I was doing, I was like, that's the only one I really enjoy. So I was like, I'm gonna cut everything else out, but I still want to go on hikes and stuff. So it was a combination of like, I'm looking for guests as well as I'm looking for hikes and stuff to do in Denver because I'm new here. And it was just like that combination of both where I was like, oh, wait, this has a lot of good hikes. I was like, well, she might want to be a guest too at some point. And so I don't think I DM'd you about being a guest for like 2 or 3 months. I think I waited a while, but it was like something like that where I was trying to start getting a list of local people to come on in person, because it's a little better in person than on Zoom and stuff. Although you do what you got to do. I've done plenty of Zoom podcasts, nothing against them, but it's just, there's a different level of like us hanging and talking. And
Totally.
but yeah, I don't remember which post.
No worries. Sorry to
I feel like
interrupt.
it might have been your fall one. No interrupt. You're good.
Oh, really?
I feel like it
Oh,
was.
okay. So it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited for fall.
I know. I feel like I didn't do it's something you probably get this too. I feel like moving out here, there's so much to do, and there's just no time to do it.
Yeah.
And every year, my friends and I that moved out here, we get this list of things. We gotta go do this. We gotta do that, and we hit like 10 to 15 of them. And then because we've added also another 15. And then at the end of every summer, it's like, oh, we still have 20 things we still haven't done.
You could live here your whole life and you'll never do it all. I did something pretty much on every single day off from my full-time job. Explored, had an event, live music, something, and I still look back and feel like I didn't do enough.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the live music thing, that's one thing too. It's like I want to go out hiking, but then there's a concert that I really want to go to too because we're so blessed here to get concerts all the
So
time.
blessed, yeah.
And then there's a wine festival in the mountains somewhere, and there's Oktoberfest in Breckenridge. There's like all these different things you can do, and it's like, oh man, there's not enough time. Well, I will say the beautiful thing about that is this was the first place I've lived in where I felt like, oh, I don't really want to travel a lot because I'm so busy doing things that
Yes.
I do enjoy doing. And like when I was in Florida, every couple months I'd start getting the itch, like, I kind of want to go somewhere. And I love Florida personally, but I was just like, I want to go to Vegas. I want to go out west to do something. Like it was just that itch would come every like 3 or 4 months. And so far here, it's like I'm like, I could
Yeah.
never go home, honestly,
I
besides
hope,
to visit my family.
yeah, I hope this never happens, but I could be locked and confined in the state of Colorado for the rest of my life, and I would make the best of it. Like it wouldn't be awful. Let's just say
Yeah.
that. Like it could be great.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, it's never end. The list is never ending. My list is quite literally never ending. I'm adding things to it almost every day.
Right. It's like every season you're like,
Yeah, and that's just it.
anymore.
Every season there's new things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wonder if too, I just thought that just came to me, but like when we're out in the mountains, that feeling like on certain hikes where you're like, oh, I'm in the middle of like nowhere. Like, which I love that feeling personally. Not everyone likes that feeling, but when I'm in the middle, all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, there's no one like I mean morbid thought, but I'm like, there's no one coming for me right now.
Yeah.
Like if something, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, that's so nice. Like that's so free.
Yeah, I love it. I love the freedom
Yeah.
of being in the mountains.
Like getting lost kind of again makes it where you're like, oh yeah, I can go back to Denver or where I live, and it's like I was gone for like a whole day in a different world. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a full reset. I
Yes.
feel fully reset when I am in the mountains. And then I go to my full-time job the next day and it's like all gone out the window. But for that short amount of time, it's amazing.
You're out, we're out there, and then coming back, you're like, why am I working? What is this? This is what the world that's a thought that I've seen that like reel on Instagram and TikTok where it's like, our founding fathers saw this and decided we should work a 9 to 5
And
through our
invented
parents saw
taxes,
yeah,
whatever. Like, yeah. God, it's so true though. Like, we're meant to be picking berries and like sewing things with straw.
Yeah. Where did it all go wrong? Where did it all go wrong?
Money, but that's okay.
Money. Yeah.
That's okay.
The root of all evil. Anyways, we're not going down that rabbit hole today.
Save that for the next episode.
Wow, we drifted a little bit of ways there, but
That's okay.
when it comes to what got you into hiking?
So I grew up in Northern California.
Okay.
And spent every summer in Tahoe. We lived like an hour and a half away from Tahoe. And my mom and her best friends went, they were part of the Sierra Club. I don't know if you're familiar, but it's basically a hiking club all throughout California, like in the Sierra Mountains. And so she has been hiking like her whole life. And then once I got to a certain age, I just tagged along and we would hike all around Tahoe, all throughout the Sierra Mountains, Yosemite. And it was just part of my life. And we camped every summer in Lake Tahoe. Very blessed to be able to do that. And so the outdoors have always been a part of my life. And then kind of got away from them. Like I would say late teens, early 20s, like nature wasn't really my focus. Like I was, you know, dancing and working and college full time. And, there were so many other priorities in my life that kind of went away. And then, yeah, eventually when I moved to Colorado, that was reignited. I was like, oh my God. And even more so because I feel like as a kid, I kind of took it for granted because it just was there always. And yeah, there was probably maybe like 5 years of my life where I didn't do a single hike. Part of that was I also was living in Japan for a couple of years in between California and Colorado. Okay. Yeah. So add that to the list.
Yeah, we do. I am gonna ask that.
But yeah, so I moved here and was just went through a very, very like big life change and started hiking solo because I didn't have any friends here. And my parents would go sometimes, but yeah, and the mountains were kind of like a healing cocoon for me. And so I would like
100%.
go
I
up
get that.
there to heal
Yeah.
essentially. And that was my me time. And so, yeah, I guess I would say that's how I got back into hiking, because there were a few years there in my early 20s and then living in Japan for a couple of years to where I wasn't really focusing on nature at all. And then moving here and having that in my backyard,
Yeah.
it was like, it rekindled my love for the outdoors with an even deeper, deeper, deeper appreciation for it, which I hope shines through in my stuff that I post online, because truly it's like those mountains have changed my life.
Yeah.
Truly.
No, I get it. I
Yeah.
get it.
You get it.
Enough said for that. Yeah, I get it. It's just I always find I was thinking about that earlier, and I was like, I gotta ask how she got into it, because, like, for me, it's coming from Florida. It's like, like I look at my parents. It's like, how did I get into hiking? Because my parents would never be doing that.
Yeah.
And not that they don't like the mountains and stuff. It's just like they live in Florida their whole life, and then I'm like in Florida myself, and I'm like, how did this all happen? So I'm just was curious about that, because I find it interesting. I mean, I think I still had a love for nature being in Florida, just different with water, beaches. But then when I started to hike and come out here, like that was a big draw for me to move here, was like, I want to be somewhere I can do this every weekend if I want.
Yeah.
And like,
Did you just go on a hike one day and have like this spiritual experience and like, I need to do this all the time? Or
It's
like, what
funny.
was it for you?
It's funny. I couldn't tell you what it was. I really couldn't. I just know that I did enjoy like being out in nature, and growing up, I think it was like looking at pictures of mountains, like literally like on Twitter and stuff, where I'm like, I want to go do these things when, like, there's so much beautiful stuff out there, and like I'm here in Florida, and not that it's not pretty, but like I can't see
Different.
those
It's
things
just
here.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. Like I definitely was a sunset, like go watch sunset as much as I could, because the sunsets are way different there for sure. But yeah, I mean, the first hike that I can think of is I remember visiting out here in like 2018, I'm tempted to say. I had a buddy that from here, or sorry, from Florida, that moved out here for college. And I was like, I'm going to come visit you for like 5 days over summer. And we came out here, and I remember doing a hike and being like, this is just gorgeous. And then I remember, funny story where I like legit almost died, but I was like, I've never done a 14er. I want to do one. He was like, well, sure, we can take you. And which he should have said no.
Which one?
I did Grays and Tories.
Okay.
And I did not make it to Tories.
I was like, as long as you don't say Long Peak.
No, thank God they didn't beat that. I remember being like so excited, and then like halfway up the mountain, I was like, absolutely, like, pure altitude sickness.
Yeah.
And I was like, I will make it. But like, and I got up there, and I remember sitting up there, probably the longest I've ever sat on top of a mountain, still to this day, where I was like, just kept like the whole time still just catching my breath, like just like, and after like what felt like 30-40 minutes, probably being like, all right, let's head down. And then like within like 10 minutes of walking down, like it immediately hits me again. No, I just absolutely smacks me again. And me and my
That's so funny.
my buddies still laugh about it, because his friend was like, here's my car keys, I'm gonna go hit Tories, and I'll meet you guys down there, because it's gonna take him a while to get down there. Fair enough, do your thing. Well, we get down to the bottom, and I mean, and on the way down the bottom, I'm dead ass like stopping every 5 minutes, because I just can't catch my breath. Side note, I have athletic induced asthma, so being in thin air, this is just not good. Like I automatically get extra effects where like it's hard for me to breathe. So didn't think about that when I was like hiking. I didn't even bring my inhaler. I was just like, I'll be fine. And so it just was taking me forever. My heart rate on my Apple Watch like never got below 130. I just couldn't get it below 130. And so it would go from 130 like up to 200, and I would stop at 200 and then just rest for 5 minutes. So it was just taking me forever to get there. We get down to the bottom finally. I'm beat. And we see him just sitting at his car. He's like, dude, I've been here for 20 minutes. I'm like, bro, I can't breathe. Like, just get out of here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I took it easy getting out here. I was like, I'm gonna wait 4 months before I do anything crazy. But but I still loved it. Like I still was like, this is amazing. Like
that was terrible, but now that I'm done, it was amazing.
Well, I still wanted to move out here. I was like, I still want to come out. Like, I mean, the pictures are up top. I was never showing it. Like, oh no, I'm showing my family, and they're like, that's insane. And I'm like, I will eventually move there.
Oh,
but
that's awesome.
It's so funny. It's still funny to this day. But I'm like, yeah, what was I thinking? I was here for 3 days.
Yeah, that's crazy. 14ers are hard when you live here.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna get my redemption coming up.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
gonna hit both peaks. I'm
There you
ready.
go.
I'm ready.
There you
I'm
go.
ready. Speaking of 14ers,
Mhm.
I had this question I thought of today, which
Mhm.
was, do you prefer, well, what are your favorite hikes? I guess I wouldn't say this or that, but do you have a favorite hike between like a
Alpine Lake.
14er? Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that your question?
That was gonna be the Alpine or the Alpine Lakes. Why Alpine Lakes?
So I hike for the emotion that it brings me.
Okay.
I feel as though hiking brings me to my most human raw form. And I get that way with like insanely beautiful landscapes.
Right.
And I feel that with Alpine Lakes, like where it's just there's a magnificent mountain and then the Alpine Lake. And
Yeah.
I think I don't hike to like cross off like goal, like you know what I mean? I'm not trying to hit all the 14ers. I'm not
Right.
trying to check off I do have specific hikes that I do want to check off the list, but the focus is more so the beauty on the hike, not so much like crushing the 14er. Also, to add to that, I was just talking to my friend this morning. I do prefer 13ers, not because a 14er feels much harder necessarily, and I don't want to do the challenge, but because a 13er is lower, you're kind of at eye level to a lot of mountains, and it's just so much more grand and beautiful. Whereas a 14er, you're kind of above everything, and I am really into photography, and to me, when you're kind of above everything, there's not anything grand kind of behind you. You're like above it all.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I like when there's like something towering
Okay.
above you. So
Yeah.
from that perspective, yeah, that might be kind of a lame answer, but
No, I'm intrigued when you say it brings you to your most like human and you go for the emotions. Can we
Mhm.
dive a bit deeper into that?
Sure, absolutely.
I'm so
I'd
interested.
be happy to.
Well, because I mean, I have a little similarness with that where like I go to like disconnect, like no, I mean, I don't want to sound like a pretentious. I hate when people play like speakers and stuff on the
Oh,
trail.
that is so
And
disrespectful.
I hate when that's what I've had friends say that. I mean, like to each his own, do your thing. Ideally, if you're playing music, I'm just not gonna be around you.
Yeah.
But like, and then even like one of my friends likes to put a headphone in, which to each his own with that as well. But I was like, give me some music. And I did it for like 5 minutes. I was like, actually, I don't like this like at all. Like I want to be around in like no technology,
Yes.
nothing. Like I specifically, even on some hikes when I'm like at the parking lot and I have service, I'm like airplane mode. Oops, I don't have service. Like
That's funny.
like I'm not texting my parents. Like 'cause my parents obviously worry. They're like, "What are you doing to this weekend?" I'll just be like, "I'm on the mountains this weekend. I'll text you when I'm back on Monday."
Yeah.
Just don't answer
Yeah.
for like 2 days.
That's amazing.
But like, I love that. Like that's where I love it.
Yeah.
I love the disconnect, which I don't know if that's what you mean, but
That's
like
part of it.
let's dissect it a
That's
little bit.
part
I'm
of it.
so intrigued.
For me, hiking puts me in kind of a flow state where I'm thinking about everything and thinking about nothing. And when that happens, everything that I have been suppressing or not thinking of because I'm staying busy and with work and all of these things, it's like all of these emotions that come about that haven't been able to be released are able to be released when I'm hiking because it breaks down all my doors.
Yeah.
And that is so healing. And it is so, gosh, like the euphoria you feel after having a good cry in the mountains. And not every time do I cry. That is like the kind of, extreme if we're looking at a spectrum. But yeah, being out in the mountains and being around nature, thinking about nothing, thinking about everything, being in a flow state, my eyes are looking back and forth, which is scientifically proven to um, kind of open up channels that have been blocked to really release what you've been holding down. I have my best ideas. I feel I have the most clarity. I feel the lightest. I feel the most joy. It's in nature where I have those moments where I think to myself, this is what it's all about. And I want nothing more than to like share that feeling with the world. And I want the world to feel that. I truly feel that if everyone went into nature and cracked those walls and released, you know, all of the pain, everything that they've been holding in, the world would be a better place.
Okay.
And those are all of the emotions that I feel on a hike, and it's just so beautiful and magical. And I just hope, yeah, I want to share that energy with other people, and I hope that I do.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I
that's
love.
kind of deep, but
No, I loved it. I didn't want to interrupt. I wanted to you to go through it all. So,
yeah.
well, the first thing that made me laugh, not to laugh, but I was like, oh, I haven't cried in the mountains yet, so I haven't had that
Oh, just you
experience yet.
wait.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to be crying in the mountains.
You don't think you do, and then you do, and you're like, wow, that felt good. And no one's there, right? No one's
I
there.
guess that's true.
No one's watching you except the trees,
That was going to be my.
but they are so supportive.
They are supportive. I do agree with that. I very much agree with that. Oh, but that was gonna be my next question was are you having these emotions and stuff when you're on solo hikes, or do you have a difference or the same or different set of emotions when you're hiking with
It's
friends?
mostly solo primarily because I am not able to fully get into that like meditative flow state when I'm with
Okay.
friends because we're yapping,
Yeah.
or um I have had moments of sheer awe on hikes with friends. Like I went with a couple of my girlfriends to Crested Butte for the wildflowers and we went on a hike that just I have to do that hike every year now. Like for the wildflowers, it was every turn, all three of us were just like, "Oh my God." Like taking
Which
it
hike is it?
Wrestler's Gulch.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I've like posted about it a bunch of times because I can't get over it. But it's so good. And so, yes, I guess I do have, emotions arise in a different way. But as
Right.
far as like the deep, I am almost like spiritual healing that I receive it from the mountains is definitely on my solo adventures. Um, Primarily because I just am not zoned out enough when I'm
Right.
like with other people.
No, that totally makes
But
sense.
there's beauty and blessings in both. Like,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's each
Yeah,
one or the
for
other.
sure.
I think they both have their place, which is funny because as you were saying it, I'm like, I haven't done any solo hikes. Like now, I'm like, I kind of need to.
And now you will
Yeah, I
cry.
probably will. What? No.
I just kidding. You don't have to cry. I'm also very like my I wear my emotions on my sleeve
Mhm.
and if I drive by roadkill, I will cry. So there's that. It's very emotional.
I think about 8 months ago, I might have cried, but I think I'm good now.
Okay.
Different spots of life.
8 months. Oh my God.
Like certain times in life,
Oh my God.
there's definitely some crying.
Yeah.
I'm not
Good.
shy about that.
I'm glad that
Like,
you have never not cried. I would be worrisome.
that would I think I can't picture anyone not ever crying.
Right.
I think just a lot of guys won't admit to that.
Ugh. Yeah. That could be a whole other conversation.
I mean, we can, yeah. I mean, look. There's one thing about like admitting to it and then crying in front of people, which I think is where like guys really will draw a line. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to cry in front of people.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
I'll
Most
definitely say
people.
that.
Yeah. Most people.
I mean, true, but I think there's simply a hard line of like, no, like so the Aussie guy, you're like, I gotta keep it together right now.
Yeah. In my closed locked bathroom only.
Yeah, exactly. And that's there's a comedian Bill Burr who has a joke like that where he's like, his dog died, and he was like in the living room with his wife, and he was just like, all right, yeah, we gotta we gotta go do this, and then he's like, I went to the bathroom, and the second I shut the door, I was just like. Starting to cry, she ways. I just not to
Can
go down that road.
can I share a hot take really quick?
Go for it.
This story reminded me of that, and I don't know what your listeners will think, but it is a hot take, so take that as you will. But I actually think this is kind of deep, but if more men felt comfortable to cry in front of not just like people on the street, but like in this situation with the comedian, like his wife,
Yeah.
two things. Male depression rates would decrease and divorce rates would decrease.
You think so?
100%.
Hmm.
Yeah, if more men felt safe to express emotion, let's just take the example of like their significant other.
Yeah.
It would allow their significant other to feel more close to them and it would increase intimacy.
I'm not gonna. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really have a take on.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know.
Totally fine. That's my hot take and I
will say,
feel
I
that
think
very strongly.
I think the only thing I have to say on that is that it would depend on the situation that the man is crying on, and I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah, like if he died in Fortnite, like get a grip, dude. I don't want to hear about it.
Example.
But if his dog died,
Yes.
oh my gosh! If I was the wife and I'd be like, "You're not upset? I felt low. Our dog just died." But yeah, I do. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I think it's very situational.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not just out crying in front of everybody either,
Right.
so
Yeah.
I could though, but I don't.
Do you ever have any people in your life that were like kind of criers? Like I remember.
Me?
Oh, women. Yeah, you probably not like. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Like, what about like? I remember like we had a friend that kind of was like a drunk crier, a girl, not a like. I remember my guy friends being a drunk crier would be so funny as a guy. I could not
no.
tell you.
Oh
That's the other thing
no.
with guys is like we say what you. I mean, again, like we do make fun of each other. It is out
Yeah.
of love. Like I'm
Uh-huh.
not making fun of just like any guy friends. Like
Uh-huh.
it's my close guy
Yeah.
friends. Like if I had a guy friend that was crying, like when he got drunk all the time, we would lose it. I know we would. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, we would be there to support him, but we would at least be like, "Oh, come on."
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
there's that level.
Let it out,
But
bro.
it's
Let
not
it
the
out.
same for me, by the way. It's not like I'm only dishing it out, but it'd be, oh my gosh, I can't imagine that right now.
Oh my
And my thing,
gosh.
my one, oh my gosh, sorry.
I don't think there has been any criers like overly so in my life necessarily, but yeah, I think I just grew up with like a very um emotionally available and present mom and stepdad,
Mm-hmm.
which has helped instill a safety expressing my emotions in myself as an adult,
That's
which
awesome.
is like, I know a lot of people didn't grow up with that. So I feel very grateful. And it makes me understanding when people aren't comfortable
Yeah.
expressing emotions well or clearly, or even understanding what they're feeling. Because that is hard too sometimes, like understanding like why do like being able to voice your emotion.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So no, I don't think I grew up necessarily with any like extreme criers. I just grew up in a very like um emotionally like emotion was not bad.
Yeah.
It was a healthy thing and to express it. So
No, that's
yeah.
awesome. I mean, that is a game changer, especially, and then it's very big on you to also have the understanding of like, all right, not everyone's has this, but I can understand where they're coming from and this and
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I feel very blessed in that category too. I felt like my parents were very understanding. Like I can remember my dad, like, we do something as a kid, we gets mad at us, arguably, like understandably so.
Mm-hmm.
And like there were times where like maybe he reacted in a way that wasn't great, right? Like he got really angry. And I remember like he would literally come up like be like, "Look, I'm very sorry."
That's everything.
And I was like, and growing up, I would just see like other friends and stuff and their family and how they all interacted, and maybe their parent said they were sorry behind closed doors. I don't
Yeah.
know, but it was just something like very telling to me. And I mean, my dad would tell someone they were sorry if he did something
Yes.
in front of us and in front of other people. It wasn't like he was like trying to hide it. So that was something where I was always like, "Oh, that's very interesting." Like you can have a reaction and reflect on it and then also be like, all right, look, I really kind of messed up with this or this. And not that doesn't excuse you if you keep repeating the same thing over and
Right.
over, but that wasn't the case with him. So I was like, okay, that's very
That's
interesting to see.
amazing that you had that, especially like from your father figure. I always think like when it comes to parenting, no one's perfect. And our parents were parents for the first time
Right.
and they are also figuring it out.
That you just said there, yeah.
Yeah, and they're figuring it out too. And no one's perfect. No one's always going to say the right things. But the one differentiator, I think, in every kid's going to have a little bit of trauma, even if the parents did the best they possibly could. But the one thing differentiating like one kid versus another and how they are when they grow up is having a parent that apologized.
Yeah.
It's like everything. Because
Right.
imagine if all of those times your dad maybe said those things or that didn't feel good or weren't right or whatever and never apologized. You'd be a different person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a kid, you internalize it and be like, okay. And then you might project that until you realize your mistake. It's very interesting.
Well, and you also might not be as great of a person as you are because what that taught you is that it's okay to make mistakes in life as long as you like own up for it and
Accountability.
accountability. Yes. And as a kid, seeing that from an adult that you look up to, it will like will change who you are in a positive way.
Yeah.
So I love that for you.
Yeah. I'm that's funny. I didn't think of it like in accountability sense until like just now. But,
Yeah.
like I've always been big on accountability, and that's probably why. Like for me,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't like in relationships with anything, friendships, I'm like, you made a mistake. It's fine. But like don't I just cannot stand when people are like, oh, I didn't.
Wasn't me.
It's like, okay, well, then why are we having this conversation? Because it clearly was you.
Yeah.
You already apologized.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
or, whatever it is. But like, yeah, them just being able to, anyone being able to just own up and be accountable on, again, like whether it's something big or even something small to me, it's like, it's not that big of a deal, but like,
Right.
it becomes a big deal. And if you're not accountable with it, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And like, I think another philosophy of mine too is when you don't hold yourself accountable to certain things, specifically when you've maybe done something wrong, you can tend to repeat those same mistakes over and over. And I think life, even universe, God, whatever you might believe in, they kind of throw those same lessons at you
Yes.
over and over again until you shapen up and
So you learn
get
it.
through
Yeah.
it. And so you learn it. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I've been big on recently, like those cycles of things.
Yeah.
Like there's things that, and it's weird when you maybe notice it before you've like, maybe when you're ready to accept it.
Isn't it crazy when you recognize it's like finally you recognize the pattern. And then you're like, "Oh my God, okay, so maybe I was a little bit of the problem." Maybe it wasn't completely my ex. Maybe there's something to do there with me. But it's true. It's
No,
like
it's totally true. And but then the on the flip side of that, once you recognize it, you also have to then overcome it.
yeah.
And that's even like
Yeah.
another monstrous thing in my
Bringing your shadows to light. And oh my God, I could talk about this for a whole podcast, but I'll just say, like, the people who that is like doing the work to me
Yes.
is recognizing those patterns in yourself. Because sometimes when you realize that you have had a pattern and it's not a good one, like you wouldn't like that as a quality in someone else, and you realize you have it in yourself, it's kind of like a really difficult moment. And a lot of people never grow and never change because they stuff that down. They don't want to accept that they
Yeah.
have that pattern or tendency or whatever. But when you are able to alchemize that into goodness and have awareness to maybe how you've been, oh my God, you become you vibrate at a higher frequency. Or like you become different and better. And
Yeah.
you all of a sudden will start to see you're attracting people who are more aligned and relationships who are more aligned and opportunities that are more aligned. And the more you can do that, the more you can bring your shadows to light. Like that's how you change your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I people that listen to the podcast and probably like he's harping on this again, but like I went through a very transformative time in my life in the past like year, and there was some moments of like very darkness and just not sure what's going on and yada yada yada. But like a huge thing for me, and I will continue to harp on this as long as I live, was just journaling about those things and just journaling. And I made it myself a personal goal at one point to journal for a month straight, every day, one time minimum a day. And it was just, I mean, literally life changing.
Wow.
Like it's so much so where I was like, I'm actually going to do another month. Like I ended up doing 2 full months, and it
Wow.
was, I need to get back to it. I always say that it's just so easy once you stop to just stop. But like it was so transformative, and I felt so much more in tune with just my inner dialogue than I had before. And I don't know, everyone's different. I'm very much of an overthinker. I very much can draw up 1,000 scenarios in my head.
Oh, yeah.
And like I start journaling about things, and it's like, oh, wait, we're back to center. We've gotten everything out. And
Yeah.
it's so that was just so transformative. And I will, yeah, I mean, I try to do it here and there still. I need to go back to it
Yeah.
it was just so different. Like it was just like
That's
walking around without like a
awesome.
weight on your shoulders all the time. You're like, oh no, I know what I want, I know where I'm going. And
Yeah.
that's it.
It brings you
Perfect.
back to center.
Yes, perfect way of saying it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Introspection is a superpower.
Yes. Yeah. As long as you don't over introspect.
Yeah.
I mean,
that.
it's funny too. It's like I would do. Like I should correct that. When I'm journaling, I think the introspective is like very cut and dry in a sense of like this is it and this is what we're doing. Versus like the inner dialogue of being introspective, I can go off the rails with.
There's like an end point when
Correct.
you're writing.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
like,
That's what I was trying to
Okay,
say.
cool. Yep. We're back to center. Yeah,
Yes.
totally.
Yeah. Versus like the inner dialogue, you might give out to center, and then you're like, well, what about?
But wait. How do, one more thing.
Yeah. 100%.
That's funny.
100%. Do you ever do any like journaling or anything out there in the mountains? I have not done that yet, and that's one thing
No.
I'm like, I want to. Maybe on my next, maybe on my first solo hike, I'll bring my.
Yeah, I feel like so it's interesting how we just made that comment of with the journaling, there's an end point. That's how I feel when I'm in the mountains.
Okay.
It's like if I'm in my day-to-day life, it's really easy to spiral. But when I'm in the mountains, there's so much noise and no noise. It's hard to explain. It's like I am alone in a beautiful place, and so I'm able to just have all of the thoughts come up.
Yeah.
But it also, in a way, because
Right,
they're
like
all
filters them
coming
out.
up, yeah, it's like, okay, I've m- made myself conscious to all of these things that are running around in my mind and my body, and because I've brought them into consciousness, it allows it to like go away.
Yeah, almost meditative in a sense,
Yes.
without the hums.
Yeah. So for you, it's like with you're taking it all from here and putting it down here. For me, it's like it's been stuck in my body and like bringing it to my mind and allowing it to just like
I definitely feel that the way you described it was, I mean, perfect, spot on. When I'm
Yeah.
hiking, I definitely feel that because there's been
Yeah.
times, again, I mean, I've lived here for now a year, and there's been times the last 8 months where I was out there and I'm like just thinking about things, but I feel great coming back. Like,
Yeah,
that is the one thing I always say.
very-
Even as bad as it was and however dark it was coming out.
you
of it,
almost
like,
died, but your mind is clear.
my mind was like, let's do that again. But that was amazing. Yeah, 100%. It's addictive in its own way. Are you? I always bring this up too. But he's one of my favorite people. Are you familiar with Naval Ravikant at all? He's more of like a famous like nerd guy, big coder, has his own company, big investor, but he is very like philosophical, and he like backstory wise, like grew up, his mom was like, you're gonna read a bunch of books. Like that was basically like how she was like, that's the daycare. You're gonna go to the library every day after school. Like I have to work. So, but anyways, point being with what you were just saying about how like filtering out, he had a thing with meditation where he was talking about how your brain, his metaphor is perfect. And same similar way was like your brain is like an email inbox, and you get tons of junk mail, you get clutter, you get all these things throughout the day thrown at you. And meditation would help you alleviate that clutter. But he's like, but when you start, you get the junk mail from 10 years ago that you've been ignoring. Things that you've been just, oh, put that to the side. Like it's all going to come up.
Yes.
And that's where like so many people are like, oh, I'm going to try meditating, and they fail right away. And it's just because you have to work through all the 14,000 emails you've had piled up for 14 years versus like eventually you get to the point though where like every day you at the end of the day, if you meditated, you just get to that day.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was very an interesting
cool.
metaphor, but that's what what you were saying reminded me exactly of that. It's
Yeah,
like I get out
basically
there,
that.
it brings up everything. It's like you said, heavy noise filtering through it, and then by the end of it, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that was
Well, and it's interesting because I actually haven't had a cry in the mountains in a few months, and I cried a lot in the mountains last year. And
Did you have a little whiteboard, little
no,
three? I
no,
did.
no,
I know. I'm kidding. I'm
but
sorry.
just thinking about it because there was so much that I was going through, and like so much that was in my bucket or in my email.
Yeah.
And now there's less things in the email because I consciously get into that meditative state with hiking more and more. But yeah, when I was first, because I moved here last January, so it hasn't been that long. But when I was first getting into hiking, yeah, it was like every time I went in the mountains, I would cry because there was just so much going on in my life.
You say last January? You mean like January 2025? January 2024?
24.
Okay, that's where I was like, wait a minute.
How is that possible?
My whole perception of your content, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, no.
That's you.
January 24. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I thought so, but it was
Yeah.
confirmed.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm so sorry.
No, you're
I
fine.
took that right away from you. What
No,
were you
you're
saying?
good. That
So
was
sorry.
pretty much it. Yeah. So it makes sense. It's like my email box was a lot more full last summer, and now it's like I hike all the time. And so, yeah, there's not as many emails. They still pop up, but
I mean, of course.
Yeah,
I mean,
never
yeah. Just like work, you get emails every
oh
day.
my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Crazy the amount of emails every day. You're out of office, you come back and
Yeah. This is how your email found me, and I'm like on a 13er.
yeah. It's a good piece of content. You should make.
Yeah,
It's a great piece of content.
honestly.
Speaking of content, let's flip a little bit into the content side of things. What made you start making hiking content?
So I've always kind of used my Instagram as like a diary for whatever's going on in my life. Like when I was living in Japan, I shared Japan content, and I kind of like this account that I have is the same account I opened in 2012 when Instagram became a thing. So like I didn't
That's awesome.
start this for hiking, but yeah, so
I went the
last
exact opposite. I started a brand new one with this.
there you go.
Yeah.
They do recommend to do that, but I was like, I had great engagement on my account already, not for hiking, but I just always shared things. I didn't
Yeah.
have a huge following, but I had like really the people that were there were great. And um yeah, so last summer I started just sharing naturally the things I was doing, which is what I've always done. And I had a couple go viral. I was like, okay, whatever. And my TikTok actually, so the big number that you see on my TikTok is actually because of Japan. It's not because of Colorado. I created content in Japan around the guise of American living in Japan and like everything that goes into that, like
Cool.
things that would shock an American as an American living in Japan, like things like that, and just taking people on tours and day in the lives and things like that.
Right.
And it blew up and it grew. And so I think it's taking time for the algorithm on TikTok to now show my stuff to Colorado because it's like, hello, it's like, yeah. Anyway, um, but yeah, so it just kind of took off and I ran with it. And then last fall, which would make sense if you found me based on a fall video, it went like very viral. And um, that was fun. I ran with it. Wasn't like making any money from content, was
Right.
just truly enjoying it. And then kind of like December, January, February, March, April, I pretty much didn't really do anything. Like I barely post. If I go back and look, there's maybe like 2 posts a month for like 4 months.
Mm.
And then one of my creator friends out here, we were just kind of talking and she was sharing with me like the income potential with social media, which I've always kind of known, but I don't know. And so
When you like sit down and I don't know if you've ever sat and seen some things, I'm like, oh my gosh.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy. And I
Yeah.
have mentors right now and like I don't how much they make, I don't even want to make that. Like that's not even my goal because that's a lot of work. Like I would be happy with like a cool I don't know. So, um then in May I kind of was like, okay, I'm going to do this like a business. This is not like a personal page anymore. I'm going to run this like a business. I'm going to be very intentional, very strategic, and very consistent. And yeah, since May, I've gained almost 8,000 followers on Instagram, which is my main focus. Like I repost to TikTok, but my TikTok needs to figure itself out. Um, and Instagram has better engagement anyway. But yeah, and so now it's like with the consistency, with the intentionality, with treating it like a business and not like I'm posting for my friends and family, but like I'm posting to, for example, like you, people who just moved to Colorado who want to know what to do and where to go, what hikes to do. Posting with that person in mind, it's just done so well and taken off, and I just hope it continues to. Yeah,
No, I love that I love that you just said that you had to treat it with intention and a little bit like a business
you do. Yeah.
because it's something that I was talking about actually with another creator myself where I was like, there is this level of like fun to it that you do need, but the people who you see that are mega famous from it, it's not because they're creating content for fun. It's because they've approached it in a business setting where
Yeah.
they're going, well, I have to do this every day
Hmm.
because this is my job. And so I'm going to do it every day.
Yeah.
And that's such a different, like a creative. I find myself as I'm more on the creative side of things, which is where that like everyday thing can be hard because I'm like, well, I'm not feeling creative
That's a
today,
lot. Yeah.
but it's so important if you're actually trying to grow, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't. Again, doesn't mean you shouldn't do stuff that's fun, but no, it's very important, and that's sort of like I'm very glad you said that because that's a big shift with like the podcast for me. It's like been a huge shift where I was doing it more for fun. I was doing it casually here and there for the last like 3 or 4 years. Like literally, I'd do like 3 months on, 3 months off type, like just have guests on here and there and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And then I was like, well, I really like it. This is the thing. And then I was looking at my other content I was doing and I was like, it's just not. really what I'm feeling. I'm not really even enjoying it anymore. So like, well, then why am I doing it? Basically, that was the question. I was like,
Mhm.
well, if it's not fun for me, then why am I even doing it?
Mhm.
But out of everything, I was like, this is the most fun because I enjoy it. I can sit down. That feeling you get in the mountains when I'm
Mhm.
here, I just like everything's like gone. And I'm like,
Yeah,
this is amazing.
that's amazing.
And so I was like, I'm gonna just pursue that. But then it was very intentional of like, okay, we're gonna pursue it. We have a goal we have to hit. We're gonna have content going out every day for the podcast. No ifs, ands, or buts. And that's been a big shift. And I've only been doing that for like 4 months now. So it's nothing crazy.
Nice.
But it's been like again, it's just such an important thing that you said. That I think so many people don't think about when it comes to content creation. Oh, you're an influencer. Oh, you make content. And you're like,
It's
you
so
make a
much
video
work
every
behind the
day.
do you like making a video? Yeah. And I actually don't do it. So I challenged myself to do every day for September and I am. But I actually haven't done every day ever. Because I think it's consistency is more important than every day. But like,
Mhm.
what can you commit to? Can you commit to like 3 times a week, 4 times a week? So
Right.
I typically do like 4 to 5 times a week. But yeah, for September, I'm committing to every day because I know the fall is gonna pop off. Like
Right.
it's gonna be crazy. So just kind of leading up to that. But yeah, I think you have to be careful though. Like, yes, you have to treat it like a business, but the thing that you do decide to create content about, you have to love it. And you have like it has to be something that you would be doing whether you were filming it or not.
Oh my gosh. I love that too.
Yeah.
One of my big things, one of my big quotes, and I tell friends this too when there's things is like, I don't remember who said it. It's definitely, this is not an original me, but I just know, but like, it's what would you do if you won the lotto? That's
Mm.
like the one, like, if you can answer that question, you're like, I would do this. Then it's like,
Mhm.
then start doing it now.
I
It's
would
like,
literally buy a van.
yeah.
I would I would if I was a millionaire, I would live in a van.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, again, and I was like, I would still love the podcast, like for fun. Like, I would still want to do this. Like, it wouldn't matter what the money was. And that's where, like, I'm telling my friends are like, I'm lost on what to do. I'm like, if I gave you $1 billion tomorrow,
Yeah.
what is it? And then they might not have an answer that at that point, but at least that starts
Yeah.
getting to thinking. And like, well, I would hate that. I would hate that. And like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And don't get me wrong, there's some people who can power through. I have a friend of mine who like he has his own marketing agency. He's doing great. He has all his own stuff. I don't think he loves it, but he's
Yeah.
good at it, and he can continue to be good at it every day, and he just nails it. And then eventually he'll be just an operator, and then he'll be happy. But like,
Yeah.
to each his own. But
Different personalities for sure. I'm not that person.
no,
I have to
yeah,
be very like aligned with what I'm doing, which do I want to create content every day? No. But would I like to be in the mountains every day? Yes. So it's like combining the
yeah,
two of those is enough for me to like really enjoy it. And, you know, like being able to do content full time eventually just opens up so many doors. Like, will I want to do just content full time for the rest of my life? Probably not. But having the time and space that content creation will give me will allow me to like explore other things that I wouldn't necessarily be able to if I was, 55 hours at my job every week.
right. No, 100. I mean, 100%. I couldn't agree more. It's a again, that's a big philosophy I've had too, where I'm like I do a lot of social media management on my day job and freelance wise, and as much as I love this, I also do love that. So I'm like, okay, at least I'm doing two things I like, and
Yeah.
hopefully, again, like ideally, my whole thing would be the same thing. It's like if I can just do this and have a nice income from it, perfect. I don't need to be Joe Rogan. I don't need to be I don't need to be that famous.
Yeah.
But like I to be able to just do talk and then do the hikes and do the trips I want to do is that's it. That's the dream. That's it.
Yeah,
Nothing
for sure.
nothing too crazy
That
about that.
freedom is priceless.
Yeah.
Truly.
I agree. I've had a big switch with that too, where at first it was like just like being young and you're like, oh, I want to go chase money. I'm going to work hard and do this and that. And then I did that for a while where I worked a ton of different things. That was a big part of my own realignment was like, I'm doing too much, like where I'm not focusing on what it is I enjoy and having fun. And I like just cut. I was drastic with it. I was like, I'm going to stop everything for a month. And then people were like, what? I'm like, I'm not answering your call, not anything,
Oh
stop it.
my gosh.
Anything. I just like, that's a bit drastic. Maybe don't do that, people. But
But I bet it gave you clarity.
oh, it was for the first 2 weeks, I was like, "Is this how normal people live? This is amazing." Like, I was like, "I'm not working after my day job.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going home watching them." I remember calling my mom actually and being like she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I watched a movie last night." She's like, "Yeah?" I'm like, "I haven't watched a movie on a Wednesday
No,
in
I hear you.
5 years." And she's like, "Look," and she doesn't love my mother.
Yeah.
She only does her job and that's it,
Yeah.
to each his own. But she was like, "Okay, yeah." I'm like, "No, you don't understand. This is like bizarre, but also amazing. But then about like week 4, I was like, all right, I gotta figure out.
It's like boring. It's not fulfilling. Yeah, I sometimes I wish I were someone who could work my day job, which is sometimes a night job because of retail. Like I'll get home at like 10:30, 11. But um yeah, sometimes I wish I could just get off work, go to the gym, go home, eat dinner, watch a show, scroll a little bit, and go to bed. Like that's what
Yeah,
more than half of the population is doing. And I just can't. I'm at work and I'm pulling out my notes because I have an idea for like a video or something to make later. I'm at home. Like I am when I get home, I am getting back to brands. I am pitching. I am interacting with brands. I am creating content. I am, like interacting with other creators. It's just there's always something. I'm planning the next hike, I'm planning the next trip. I don't remember the last time I actually tried to watch, because one of my favorite shows came out, and I tried to watch the first episode, and I had to stop it a few minutes in. I'm like, "I can't do this. I can't just sit here and enjoy it because my mind is thinking about all of these other things that get to be done." And I say get to be done intentionally, like, I just turned it off, and
yeah.
yeah,
That's a great mindset shift, by the way. To not just like roll over that, like to be like, I get to do this. I get to do
Yeah.
this. Yeah,
I have to
changes
remind
a lot of
myself that
things.
because sometimes I am exhausted and I have been a little bit burnt out, but I just remind myself of the vision and like, no, I get to do this. I'm building something so cool and rewarding, and it's going to allow me to step away from this soul-sucking job, and that's something to be excited for and proud of. Like,
Yeah,
it's a lot of work. Most people would have stopped by now because there was so much work put in before I got my first brand deal.
right.
So much work, unpaid.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's actually, like,
Well,
insane.
not to do like a full circle, but it's like that back to that delusion. You
Yeah.
kind of have to have it. I mean, again, I look at what you just said and like what I'm doing. Like, again, I've been casually doing content in or different things throughout the 5 years to finally figure out like, well, I like this one thing, and now I'm gonna go for it. But it's like I didn't make much the first
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah.
I didn't make. I'm not even making much right now with it. So there's like that aspect of it. I had other. That's a whole other topic. But like yeah, I was like okay, like, and I remember when I in the festival community when I was making a lot of content with that. I remember like that was still gosh, it was like 3.5, 4 years before I started getting uh, like blogs and festivals reaching out to me to be like, "Hey, we want you to come
So
work
cool.
for work for us this weekend. We'll give you free tickets for everything." And like that was the goal with that. I was like, I just want to go for free. I
Yeah.
don't really care too much about like making money for that because at the time I had a way different job and stuff. But even that was like it took a while on the back end
Mhm.
to get that going. And um, there's that delusion of like I'm gonna make it, and you just keep
You
trucking.
can't have a plan B. Like, if you have a plan B, you will have one foot in and one foot out, and it will not work. It will never work. Like, you have to have a shadow
With everything.
without a shadow of a doubt, it's gonna work out, and that's that delusion. It's like, it's gonna happen before you can see it, and because you have that mindset and energy going into it, then it will.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it will.
Yeah, there's a bit of like gosh, there's like a bit of that delusion manifestation along with the hard work where it
Yeah.
like intersects to create
Yes.
the goal around you. Or
Yes.
some say, the universe create what the universe, whatever you put out in vision, the universe will create around it if you're working towards
Yeah,
that, which is like
it will.
mind boggling in
It
its own.
will.
But
Yeah.
um I had a quick question before we dive into the last question of the podcast, but I want to know what are your thoughts on the content space and social media nowadays and the idea of not having a niche down versus niching down because over the past gosh since I've worked in social media not for my own content just in my 9 to 5 too that was that whole thing of like niching down you niche down you grow your audience and then you can potentially expand into other things and now the way the algorithms are, it seems it's a lot different and you can kind of do whatever you want in a sense. I think there still needs to be some intention and planning of like, okay, my main niche is this. I'm going to do 9 or 7 posts with this, and the other 3 can be the other to show a little bit more of my personality.
Mhm.
But I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
So from personal experience, I was someone who did not want to niche down. It felt like a cage. But I have learned now that niching down actually gives you more freedom. And if you want to grow, niche down.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, unless you are one of those who is like a lifestyle influencer, which
It's super hard.
is harder. Yeah, it's harder and it's so much work. Like those videos you see, like those vlogs of people filming their everyday, like they set up the camera and they get out of bed. And like that is so much work.
Do you ever
And
try to do that?
I
Not to
have.
pause here.
Yes, I
Yeah.
have tried to do that.
Same. It
And
was like a nightmare.
like when I was in Japan, I tried to do that because I would do like day in the life and I hated it. It was
Oh yeah.
awful. It's so much work. And so niching down will be good because here's the thing, if you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody. And so if you can, funnel into like one person, one ideal person, and just talk to them, then you're going to catch the attention of everyone who is like that person.
Mhm.
Right. And I say on Instagram specifically that niche down in the content you're posting on your feed, and then stories is a great way to like interject other pieces of who you are because that's where people are learning about you more than just like what you're providing them. Like I'm providing cool trails. I'm providing solo hiking tips. I'm providing this. I'm providing that. On my stories, it's like me, and I still post trails and hiking and camping and all of that, but it's also, like my favorite song or like my outfit and so that is how you can kind of interject more of who you are into your content. And just because you're niching down doesn't necessarily mean you can't show all of those parts of you. For example, um, a lot of my content, like in voiceovers and stuff, it's really easy to show your personality in a voiceover. Um, and also, um, like for example, with live music, is most of my content geared around outdoors and hiking? Yes, but then you can do like a day in the life living in Colorado and do a bunch of montage of different clips that
Yeah.
like are all of you, not necessarily just the hiking. And I think it's important, um, niche down, have your ideal person you're talking to and make that, I would say, 85% of your content. And then 15% you can sprinkle in like something about you, but not too much because if your goal is to grow in the beginning, like you need to be providing value in that is in alignment like with your niche. And
Right.
then you can kind of sprinkle in. And then when you grow, you want to sprinkle in you though, right? Like you want to have your face showing, you want to have talking head videos
Yeah.
because it's going to allow people to get to know you and then you're going to have a stronger audience, stronger engagement, blah 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 blah. But long story short, are things a little bit different now on social media? Yeah, of course, they're always changing, but I actually still think if your goal is to grow, if you're a new creator, you're wanting to grow, niching down will actually save you. And it makes it so you're not trying to think of all these different things. What should I create content about? It's like, and
Yeah.
you just work through those 3 to 5
Yeah.
pillars and bada boom, bada bang. And then once you grow more, then you can kind of like maybe shift and pivot because you already have this audience that is loyal to you and will
Right.
follow you. But if you're so new and you're like, actually, I don't like that other thing anymore, and you start posting about this, people are going to be like, well, that's not what I followed you for. And you haven't given them time to get to know you.
Right.
Um, versus, let's say you have 80K followers, 200K followers, and you've really like built a solid foundation. If you kind of pivot, these people will have been with you for a
Yeah.
while now, and they're more likely to like pivot with you.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. And it's difficult for those that want to pivot too. I know that's a tough thing as well. I had a friend of mine who I remember years ago, she had built like a following of like 120, 40,000, and a lot of it was Florida lifestyle, boat, beach, bikini, stuff like
Mhm.
that. And she was like, well, I don't mind it. I like it. I've got good brand deals, but I want to show a bit more of me. And then that was a big thing for her was like, the first couple posts she did too, where they're not the same
Yeah.
level of views.
Yeah.
She's discouraged and stuff. And there's that too. It's a whole another dynamic with that mentally to
Yeah.
be like, all right, I'm gonna do again, going back to that, I think that's my North Star nowadays is like doing things that you enjoy
Mhm.
and fun and whatever it is. If that means niche down. I different little bit of different philosophy there. But for me, I'm like, if I know I'm fun doing it, and I'm just not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Which is I've done, yeah, yeah. It's great.
Yeah, I think it's important too, like whatever you are, again, it goes back to like treating it like a business, but whatever you are creating content on, you have to love it. So don't just niche down on something just because it's something to pick.
Yeah.
Like it has to be something that is authentic in your life already, like
Yeah.
outside of
I think that
content.
background energy is there, and like people could tell if you're just kind of like
Totally.
imposter in it a little
Totally.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So,
Cool. I have one last question. I always ask this question to guests on their first time on the podcast. And
okay.
it's the theme of the podcast. So it is, how are you living yourself for every day?
Hmm. For me, I would say that, and I feel like we've kind of talked about this a bit in the podcast, but I am always consciously choosing alignment over everything. Like I alignment over autopilot is what's coming to mind. Like every single day in little things and big things, I'm constantly checking in with myself, how I feel in terms of conversations I'm having, thoughts that come into my mind, people that are in my life, opportunities that come my way. Um, everything. I'm always kind of having a energy of introspection, and if something is not in alignment, if something doesn't feel right, I pivot. Always. I always am choosing joy. I'm always choosing what lights me up, and I truly feel as though that is how we are able to live the best life, and that's not always easy, going back to what we were talking about in the beginning with like shadow work.
Absolutely.
Choosing alignment is going to force things to come up because it's going to force you to kind of
Right.
hone in on a different identity, and
Right. You got to work on those
you
shadows, as
have
you
to.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah. To get to that alignment. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And,
And so a lot of the time it's like the phoenix, right? Like a lot of the times you have to burn and then you're able to rise from the ashes. And I've had so many moments of that in my life, and I know I will have so many more, unfortunately. But I'm committed. I'm committed to living the most aligned life possible, and it's
right.
through the everyday moments that is how that
And I
happens.
think the more aligned you are, it doesn't mean you're not going to have trials and tribulations, but
No.
but I do think it helps you get through those a
Yeah.
lot easier. Those kind of come up, and you kind of know a little bit more how to handle them than maybe in the past.
Yeah.
Would you also sum it up, and definitely correct me if I'm thinking of it in the wrong way, but would you also sum it up as kind of like moving with intention?
Always, yeah, I think that's part of it. I think
Or
that's, like, part of living in alignment is being intentional and, not like, to put it in kind of a funny way, like, I'm not gonna be a grumpy old person. I'm not gonna be, like, a resentful
Mhm.
adult because I didn't live the life that I wanted to live, and so I think it's, living with intention in the sense that you are always like, aware of how things are making you feel,
Yeah.
like, "Oh, is this if I continue on this path, am I gonna be living the life I wanna live? No? Okay, well, let me intentionally go on it down a different path," and that's not always easy, but, sometimes it doesn't have to be this big grandiose thing. Sometimes it's just, like, little tweaks here and there,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're on a different path, and yeah, I think that is just so crucial to living the most fulfilled life is constantly checking in with yourself and asking like, is this what I want? Is this where I want to be going? Are these people aligned with me? Do I actually enjoy these friends? Like, are we, if I, are we going down the same path? Or it's, yeah, constantly choosing you every single day and finding joy and finding alignment in the small moments and the big ones. Um, yeah, I would say that all sums up into living intentionally for sure.
Yeah. No, I love that. Especially the living for you. It was something I felt like I almost had to like a relearn in the past year or so. And but when I did the journaling and living with that intention, it was like again, it just was like a totally different, like it just came out of it totally
Mhm.
different. And with this totally different mindset that I was like, yeah, I don't that old me, I don't ever want to go back to, and but at the same time, I there's a lot of hard work that was put in to do that, to get
Mhm.
me to where I felt like a different person and for the better. And I have sympathy for people because I do know that was not easy. Like
No.
it's and it's not. It's not. It's I. I especially have sympathy because there was a long period of time where I didn't want to face those demons. I was just like, just gonna shove that down, not
Mhm.
address that for a little
Yeah.
bit. And the thing with that too is, which doesn't get talked about enough in my opinion, but I think it's starting to more. It's just like, when you push those things down, like we talk about the email box and the
Mhm.
inbox and the clutter, like they come right back.
Yeah.
It's just you're really only putting it off for a certain amount of time
Yeah.
until you're sitting there with with a drink by yourself in your living room and it comes in, and then most of the time a lot of us then try to distract
Mhm.
and move
Mhm.
and not think about it that way, which is a big problem nowadays. That's a whole nother topic
Yeah.
of limit your distractions, but it's not easy nowadays. I think there's a lot of things that are keeping us from that inner alignment,
Mhm.
and I'm you said a lot of things that I truthfully really agree with, and I think we need more people out there talking about it because with technology and all these other things where we can easily lose that inner alignment. And
Mhm.
inner alignment is what keeps us not only on the right path, but just keeps us as good people. It
Mhm.
has that sympathy for others. It's so vital. It's all connected and so vital.
You can tell who out there in the world has overflowing inboxes from years and years and years, and it's the people who are mean and nasty and rude, and you can tell who is miserable. Like, you just go walk down the street, you go in a grocery store, you watch how people interact with others, and you can tell who is miserable, and those are the people that don't sit with themselves,
Yeah.
and they don't bring to consciousness the things that hurt and
Mm.
are dark and deep. And because of that, those things eat them alive, and they will never
And it
fully.
will eat them. Yeah.
It
Oh
will,
my
yeah,
goodness.
and
Yeah.
I will never be that person. I will
Yeah.
never be that person, and
And once you come on the other side of it, just to help maybe someone out there that
yeah,
is struggling,
yeah,
and once you come on the other side of it, one, you're like, it's a weight off your shoulders. You're like, oh my God.
yeah,
Like, literally, I can remember one day where I was like, I finally just was like, I've had enough. I need to do like a bunch of stuff and blah, 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 blah. And I remember like being like physically
yes,
felt it, which you're like, what? Like, yeah, I
yeah.
can't even, you don't even realize it's
Your
just weighing
body
you
holds
down.
on
You're
to
pulling
it,
on that
yeah.
stress and everything. And then once you get on that, so there's that minute it, and then it alleviating you. But then when you get on the other side of like improving and in that alignment, you have that other kind of aha moment where you're like, oh, I don't want to go back to that, like you were saying.
No,
And that's a whole nother life
yeah.
when that starts as well.
And it makes
But
every time, because you're not like, let's say you get through one thing and you feel this clarity and sense of alignment, like, you're not gonna feel that for the rest of your life. It's life. Something will happen to where you feel off kilter again. Something will happen to where you have to bring things to light again, and that is part of the journey, but when you do that and do it consciously, each time in the future it gets easier and easier. And so it's like
yep.
that first time where you finally bring your shadows to light is so hard because, it's new and it's difficult and it's painful. But then once you do it and you come out on the other side, you have tools in your tool belt for when it comes up again
Yep.
months or years later.
Yep. 100%. I don't really want to take away from that. That was beautifully put. I appreciate you so much taking time out of your day to come on the podcast. I'm going to end it on that note. It was just beautifully put. But so tell people where they can follow you. Of course, we'll put it in the description as well, but let them know where they can
Yes.
follow you and such.
So on Instagram, it's at Ilaria Reed, ILARIAREED. And then TikTok, it's a little different. It's Ilaria Jessica. So same first name and then Jessica.
Awesome.
And that's all the places I am right now.
Perfect. We'll make sure to put that in the podcast description as well. But thank you
Thank
so much
you.
again for your time.
It was great.
Absolutely good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Bye, everybody. Peace.